In this video, I'm going to be comparing the Dune franchise to a Lady and the Tramp franchise. The reason for that is that in part 1 of this series, I compared Dune to Freaky Friday, Dune 1. I compared Fox and the Hound to Lady and the Tramp 1. So now I'm going to compare Dune, Lady and the Tramp. You look at highest score for each franchise of Dune. The 2024 movie, Dune Part 2, is a 92%. The original Lady and the Tramp movie, the animated one from 1955, is a 93%. You look at lowest score, Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Great Adventure, only has a 45%. But the 1984 Dune movie, directed by David Leitch, only has a 36%. When you look at average score, Dune has an average of 70, Lady and the Tramp has an average of 68. Then we look at gap between lowest and highest score. In the case of Dune, talking about a gap of 56%, with Lady and the Tramp talking about a gap of 48%. Lady and the Tramp wins here. It's won 3 of the rounds so far, so we'll be winning no matter what. Now, for me personally, I would choose Dune over Lady and the Tramp. I think that both Dune Part 1 and Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve, are just fantastic movies that are absolutely an achievement on a technical level because they're great on every single technical level. There's not one frame in either movie that looks false or rings hollow. We think about production design, set design, cinematography, shot selection, composition, costumes, makeup, score, sound design. It's all top notch. You go, yeah, I see where the money went. And in fact, these Dune movies look better than some other movies that have come out recently, which have a bigger budget than Dune Part 1 and Part 2. You go, how is it that the effects in Dune look so good, but studios like Disney or Warner Brothers have not been doing so well with some of their movies and having good VFX? And also, I like that Denis Villeneuve knew the movies he was making. He knew, I'm not making sci-fi movies for kids. I'm making sci-fi movies for adults. So I'm not going to water down Dune. I'm not going to churn it for an assembly line so it becomes just another generic big Hollywood blockbuster. No, no, no. I know that I'm making these movies with a lot of world building, with dense lore to them, characters that are not simple, that are not clear cut, that are more complicated. I'm going to commit to that. It seems like there wasn't a lot of studio interference. There's nothing that has happened to take away from what makes Dune great. And that's the fact that things are not so simple. Like in Dune Part 2, sure, Paul Atreides is in some ways a classic hero, where he's leading these people from the desert, the Fremen, in a rebellion against the evil Harkonnens that are their oppressors. But while Paul definitely has good qualities, and in a lot of ways he's not power hungry like everyone else is, you also very much see his flaws in Dune Part 2. You see the moments where there's a manipulative side that comes out of him. You see the moments where Paul is manipulating other people to get what he wants. And in fact, once you get to the end of Dune Part 2, you're like, I don't know how to feel about this, because you don't at all like the Harkonnens. You hate them. But at the same time, you're thinking about Paul's actions. You're going, ooh, I don't think this is going to turn out well. This doesn't at all feel right. Like, there's problems here. And plus, when you think about it, you're like, oh, there's so much manipulation going on here, especially with the Bene Gesserit, these witches that are just manipulating everyone to serve their own ends. It's interesting, for example, the relationship that Paul has with his mother. I like how with Dune Part 2, you feel like Denis Villeneuve is smarter than we are. He knows how to both deliver exactly what you expect, but also flip it on its head. And with Dune Part 1, Denis Villeneuve did a great job of introducing you to the characters, introducing you to the world, including all these details end up paying off later, making it clear that this is a more serious sci-fi movie for adults, where The director's not spoon feeding everything to the audience. Clearly, Denis Villeneuve trusts that people are smart enough to figure things out, so we don't have to explain everything. People can figure things out on their own. I have not seen the 1984 Dune movie. When it comes to Lady and the Tramp, I don't dislike any of these movies. I think the original animated Lady and the Tramp is really good. It's a classic movie, especially with the scene of the two dogs right outside the restaurant eating spaghetti. I know the Lady and the Tramp Part 2, Scamp's New Adventure, doesn't have a good score on Rotten Tomatoes, but I actually enjoy it. And I think the Lady and the Tramp 2019 remake is perfectly fine. It's not great, it's not terrible. It's very much middle of the road Disney live action remake where it doesn't make any big mistakes, doesn't really do anything fantastic. It's certainly not on the same level as Aladdin, Cinderella, not Lion King, Jungle Book. Those are a few examples. Lady and the Tramp is just a perfectly alright film that's a more direct remake of the original Lady and the Tramp. It doesn't really change much at all. So I would personally choose Dune, but Lady and the Tramp is going to win in this case. Bye, everyone.